And now back to Nemo Nation with Dave Nemo, Jimmy Mac, and of course, Phone Master Dre.
Yeah, buddy, because we're broadcasting from Fastport Studios with your host, Dave Nemo, Jimmy Mac, and me, Phone Master Dre.
Yeah, you're kind of the host here as well in this particular nonsense. You want to get a good laugh? You don't happen to Jamie Jones, huh?
Talk to me.
Dropped her phone. I just got a text message from her. She's like, sorry about that, guys. I dropped my phone.
Literally, physically dropped her
phone? She's like, I dropped my phone. I'm like, oh, that explains a lot.
Get it together, Jamie.
Come on, Jamie, get it. Well, she's working the night desk. You know, working on the night desk.
One word for Jamie: earbuds.
Earbuds, my sister. By the way, we got another guest here, Dave. Would you care to do the honor?
Yes, we're going to welcome the Senior VP of Sales at Pegasus Logistics Group. Tevon Taylor is joining us here. And I want to do a shout out to Tony Sriracha, too, because Tony Sirota is the guy.
Sriracha. You still thinking about that Sriracha Gouda?
I was hoping nobody caught that.
Oh, we caught it. Everybody's got
Sriracha.
But you don't have to apologize for it, man. We all got Sriracha Gouda on the brain. Tevon, did you hear any of that, man? The Cheese Brothers came on. They have a Sriracha Gouda. I mean, come on.
It's so early in the morning, but it made me hungry, so I love it. I'm going to go eat some breakfast after we get done here.
Oh, yeah. That would be, by the way, Sriracha Gouda would be great on an omelet, wouldn't it?
Oh, come on with it.
Oh, man. How about you? Come on. How about
reinventing breakfast as we speak?
Would you care to do the honors of really giving an introduction to this guest? So we're thanking Tony Sirota, not Sriracha.
Yeah, exactly. That Tony. And we have Tevon with us. Tevon Taylor. He's been around for about 30 years in this world, working for large shippers and logistics providers, doing this and that and the other. UPS, FedEx, Brinks, you name it. And most recently, of course, Pegasus. And he's responsible for the directional strategy. Boy, we could use some direction around here. You could help us.
What are you talking about, dude? I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
What's the great line about the Lost Battalion? They said you guys were lost. They said, I don't know what you're talking about. We knew where we were the entire time. It's you guys that couldn't find us.
Yeah.
Hey, man, good morning. Welcome to the show for the first time. Good to have you.
Good morning. It's good to be on the show, and your personalities and joking around, I love it because I run on coffee, chaos, and questionable decisions, so I think I'll fit in here.
Oh, absolutely.
Like an album title.
Hey, by the way, somebody actually reads our content, by the way. This is a guy who actually does his homework because that's exactly how Road Gang Radio is described, questionable decisions. Okay, so what questionable decisions are you trying to help people avoid right now? Let's just get to the basic kind of thing. What are you focused on right now? What are you looking at in regards to the coming week and in the next couple of weeks over the holidays? What are you looking at?
You know, at work or home?
Well, we'll flip a coin and say work.
Well, I'm glad you said that because my wife would be pretty pissed off if I start talking about what we're doing at the house right now.
Well, then, in that case, let's talk about home.
Divorce is too expensive, so I'll stick to work. So in the transportation world, I mean, what I'm thinking about, what's going on in the industry, especially with Black Friday coming up, but the number one thing you're seeing is capacity is shifting, and it's been shifting. There's been a freight recession people like to talk about, but after a long period of soft demand, parts of the trucking market, especially LTL and specialized freight, which, by the way, I'm more of a specialized freight person, white glove services, things that, there's a consequence if it doesn't get to where it needs to be, specific time, and it's usually high value. Carriers are tightening up their lanes and they're consolidating their networks, so they're reducing those underperforming lanes and pushing for rate stabilization. And what that means is shippers, need to plan ahead instead of assuming endless capacity. So it's not as bad as the days of running out of toilet paper on the shelf, but you can't just assume you have the capacity in a network, because to optimize and to make sure that you're cost efficient in this industry, you're going to see a capacity is definitely shifting. So that's the number one thing. So is that exciting? Not really. Well, is that what y'all are hearing or seeing as well?
I mean, that's like I said, the shift that's happening right now, and of course, the big thing we keep hearing is Tevin, is we keep hearing about the unpredictability, of course, being the buzzword, but beyond just it being a buzzword is the fact that it's almost impossible to do tea leaf readings anymore. That you can't even guesstimate because it feels like this is a moving target now. The big thing we're hearing is we can get a handle on a week or two, but it's almost impossible to really crystal ball this stuff anymore. Is that what you're feeling? That's the big thing we're seeing, is that we know what's going to happen from this week to the next, but beyond that, you're really taking your life in your hands trying to guess. It's like a weatherman trying to tell you what the weather's going to be like in a month these days. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, it's absolutely what we're seeing. Tighter communication with your carriers, making sure you understand what your needs are and forecasting ahead. If you don't do those, your business will be impacted. And look, I've got a customer right now that their current provider, luckily I found out that, they were a freight forwarder and they weren't paying their drivers. So we came in and luckily saved them from getting tied up in a bankruptcy. So that's the other thing you have to understand is know who you're shipping with, make sure you're doing the credit checks, look for that financial stability, because the last thing you want to do is, go for the cheapest provider and find out they're going out of business. That's not a position anyone wants to be in, right?
Right. But Tevin, this is Dave. One of the things that I always say when I'm meeting someone for the first time is I've been around for a long time, okay, 50 plus years. So one of the points that you bring out is the fact that global volatility is reshaping transportation strategy across supply chains. Obviously, yes, but we've always had global volatility, I can't say the word, since we've had a globe. What is different now, I think, is the piling on, because you can handle one thing, but you can't handle two or three things all at the same time. And we're handling three things all at the same time right now. We're wars, and then we're also handling the cyber criminal explosion. And then we also have the tariffs, and it all wrangles in together, and it ain't making a good of cheese. That's right, for sure. That is, it's just, so we have this piling on. So how do we dig out of this mountain that doesn't seem to be going away? We've handled it through history, but all of a sudden history seems to be just crunching on us right now.
Well, there's a significant amount of chaos. To your point, there always has been, and there always will be. Mm-hmm. And those that can adapt and adjust and figure it out, they're the ones that are going to grow and do a lot of great things. And those that can't, obviously, won't be around much longer. I remember Fred Smith said, those that don't enjoy change probably aren't going to enjoy extinction either. And that's very true.
Yeah.
If you don't change the way you operate, if you think things are going to stay the same, then you're in the wrong industry. Transportation and logistics. I mean, right before you called me in on the show, I had a customer sitting in my office, and their business doesn't look the same. And the way we've operated it, it's not going to be the same. And if we don't change the way we operate, we won't have their business in the future. So those are just facts of life. You named all the key points. The one thing I'd add to what you were talking about is labor pressure. You're still seeing, whether it's the warehouse or on the road, you're seeing driver turnover, an aging workforce, wage pressures. That's on the road. On the warehouse, same thing, staffing shortages, longer processing times. And a lot of customers have very specific, requirements on the labor force you can hire, right? So if you have high value products, sometimes they expect, credit checks and things like that. Certain states have certain rules. I mean, it's the piling on effect is it's something that changes every year, but that's the key word is change. If you stay in front of that change, you'll do well. And if you accept it and try to figure out how to innovate, you'll do well. And otherwise, you probably should take an industry that doesn't change. If you want to go flip burgers or do something easy, go do that. Of course, I say that even flipping burgers isn't easy anymore because they've got technology to help you with that.
Look, I got one really quick question, and it's about how you handle your customers. And when I say handle, I mean manage their expectations. Because one of the things about that has changed, that has caused what you and Dave are talking about, this pile up, has been the acceleration of technology. Is that nothing has really changed except for the fact that we know what's going on at the exact same time that everything else is going on. And we've developed technologies that actually increase the speed and efficiency to deal with that. How do you temper your clients and the people whom you consult to understand that these things are not silver bullets? That it's like, guys, you have to understand that there's only so fast that all of this stuff can work efficiently. How do you manage expectations of not miracles happening in the marketplace?
Yeah, and every customer likes to look for silver bullets and miracles, and they'll tell you about, hey, I went to this facility and it's fully automated, or these guys have more sustainable fleets. I just kind of, well, number one, you keep the communication very open, very honest and transparent and constant. Don't let your customer don't go sit on the couch and watch TV and let I always compare marriage and customers. It's like if you start ignoring your customers and you don't communicate and you don't give them attention, someone else will, right? So, and then people start talking about these silver bullets and automation and things that'll make their life easier. Well, if you constantly communicate with them and you share with them some of the technologies and some of the things that are out there, AI is the big buzz right now, right? You walk them through what you're doing to get to the point in the future to implement certain technologies, but you also let them know the reason you're taking a staggered approach. There are multiple reasons. Number one is make sure the technology works for the application you're using, but number two, there's a cost. So if I have a fully manual facility that my customer says, I want you to run this in an automated, add auto store, some of the other technologies you have in the warehouse, well, okay, that's a $10 million investment. So I'm going to take that $10 million, I'm going to spread it out over your contract, whether it's transaction or whatever. And then I give them that proposal and they look at me like I'm stupid. I'm like, well, that's what you want. The labor efficiencies and things like that, the payback is years and years and years. If someone, if you're communicating to your customer and you're keeping that in front of them, at least you're making them look better to their internal stakeholders so they can go back and say, hey, Tevon at Pegasus shared with us what AutoStore looks like in the future of that in the warehouse, or what the fleet looks like and what that looks like on the road. If you're doing that on a monthly basis or at minimum quarterly, if you're doing that, you'll set the right expectation, and you're going to make yourself look smarter. You're going to make your customer look smarter because they're going to take that back to their leadership team. So that's what I do to make sure you temper that and make sure they know that I'm not just going to go invest millions of dollars and hope it works. It's got to make sense.
Last question, by the way, we ask this of a lot of first-time guests. Where do you get your information from? Where do you get your news from? What sites, podcasts, newspapers, trade journals are your go-tos when you're planning your week, your month, and your year?
I love that. So Supply Chain Now's, something I listen to when I'm mowing the yard. I'm also a host every once in a while on the show. So if you know Scott Luton, he's amazing. He has a great diversity and variety of people on his show, but it's a longer, it's an hour investment. So if I'm on a Monday, myself and I have my team as well, we're looking at Transportation Insight, looking at Supply Chain Dive. Those are the quick ones. And then, believe it or not, every once in a while, I'll go to ChatGPT and say, hey, what's new in the transportation industry this week?
That's a good use of it, by the way. That's a good use of ChatGPT, by the way. That is not always, there are people who use it for the wrong reasons. I think that's a terrific use of it. That's a great accelerative. Well done.
Can you repeat that?
Thank you, sir.
Can you repeat that, Tevon?
What Tevon said was he goes to ChatGPT and just says what's going on in the supply chain sector right now. That's a really great. That's a great. That's what ChatGPT should be used for. It shouldn't be used for like write my paper. That's a stupid use of ChatGPT. It shouldn't be like write a letter to my client, a real personal letter that makes me seem like a human being. That's not a really good idea. But Tevon, you promised us you'll come back, please. We'd love to have you on some more.
Yes.
You know what? If you just let me, as long as you're okay that I'm not scripted, I don't have approval by anybody. I'm just going to be myself, which I love because Pegasus allows me to do that. My past, I was not allowed to be on a show like this because they were scared I might share my opinion. So I'd love to.
We wouldn't have it any other way, Tevin.
PegasusLogistics.com is where you should go. And, of course, we are absolutely thrilled to have its Senior Vice President of Sales, Tevon Taylor, who has joined us this morning. Brother, go have the best of Thanksgiving and the best of weeks.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, guys.